Hello, you guys. Dr. Melanie Carlone here, physical therapist, somatic healer, really interested in feet and legs. When I was 15, I flipped off a horse, my foot got caught in the stirrup, and I did a number on my foot. So over the years, I've really spent time learning a lot about the feet and how to relieve foot pain. And it's not just in the feet that you have to look. You have to look at the whole sequence about how you walk. So in the last video, we spent time with the super ball, a small hard ball, and getting into the fascia of the foot. The fascia is the connective tissue that holds muscle fibers together, holds the muscles to the skin, the adipose tissue, the fat tissue to the bones. It's that filling, wonderful, amazing matrix that holds everything together. And when things get distorted in your fascia, like if you have a fishing net up and you pull one area, all the fishing net gets distorted. Well, that's what happens in the fascia of your body when you have an injury, and it's definitely what happens in your feet. So the last video, we talked about using a super ball on key parts of the foot and pressing, gliding, rolling, and then softening the foot to end. It's an awesome thing to do. So I want to hold that out as we move into this next portion of looking at how the foot actually works when you walk. So if you're looking at this, it's probably because you've had some challenges with your feet. And so I want to remind you, this foot of yours, this amazing construct with all of these bones and muscles and tissues, is actually built to serve you. So before we dive in, just take a moment to gather your breath, come present, and recognize by reconnecting with how the foot's designed and giving it love and giving it attention, you can really help to soften the areas of holding and come back into normal foot motion. So let's talk about the foot that is allowed to feel the ground again, because we're built on that foundation, a foot that can actually feel, can sense what's underneath it and respond. But the question then becomes, what information is it getting? And how does that information travel up? How does your brain get it? And how does walking receive load, your foot receive load and move through the gait cycle? And how does walking quietly support circulation, joint health, and your nervous system? So it's actually crazy that all those things happen with the simple act of walking. So let's look at the lower leg. Let's look first at the ankle. So where your tibia and your fibula come down and they make a mortise that this bone sits inside, okay? And it's this amazing shape that's narrower at the front and wider at the back. And so what happens as you walk through the gait cycle is it rotates. So it's a triplanar joint. And all of that gives way to miraculous things in your foot. And one really important one, often overlooked, is the venous pump. The pump that moves old tired blood back up to the liver and the kidneys and the lungs to be recycled and cleaned and sent back out again. So this pump is really important, especially if you end up at the end of the day with really tired feet or you're getting swelling. So we're going to dive in a little bit, not to force motion, but to restore relationship of how you see it. So I'm going to talk some and then show you some things, and then we're going to get up and do a practice. So walking isn't just a mechanical task. When I was in the military, they used to say walking is controlled falling forward. Which I guess it kind of is, but it does all these amazing things. It increases circulation. It gives you nerve feedback so that you can adapt to the environment. It's kind of a conversation between your body and the ground. And at the center of that is this foot pump that I'm talking about, where the foot is meant to yield and contract, yield and contract. As the arch lengthens, all the soft tissues of the foot compress. And that compression helps squeeze and move blood and lymph tissue upward, expands it. And then when you go to push off, the arch contracts again, and that squeezes the venous blood back up. So your feet are not passive structures. They're part of your whole circulatory system. They're part of your nervous system. But think about it. The moment we're born, we're little kids in this culture. We put our feet in little canvas bags, little coffins, so they can't really feel the ground. And then most of the things we walk on are hard surfaces. So we actually have to engage and enter into relationship with our foot. Because when your foot mobility is reduced for long periods of time, from long sitting at a computer or driving, from rigid shoes, and obviously from flat, hard surfaces, that begins to cause a pattern in the body that slows circulation. The tissue gets stiff, which is why we use things like strong balls to get in there. Recovery from injury in the legs slows down, and pain is much more likely. So if you're experiencing pain in your legs, this one's for you. How you walk is really not just how you move forward in space, it's how fluid and energy moves through the body from the ground up. So many of us spend long hours just sitting, and our ankles and our feet stay still. The nervous system then adapts because it's always just trying to help you out. So it begins to say, well, we got to prioritize stability, not adaptability. We're just going to stay stiff here. And over time, that starts to reduce the amount the ankle can even move, how much the tibia and the fibula are able to rotate during walking, how much information's actually coming back from the foot to the brain. It's like your lower leg just gets quiet and kind of depressed. And when the lower leg stops adapting, the body higher up through the knee, the hip, the low back, all has to do more because the foot and the ankle aren't. And it's not that you failed or you lack discipline. It's not poor posture. It's a predictable adaptation of your nervous system to limited input. The body learned a strategy and it's responding that way. Go quiet, don't move. Well, guess what? You can bring compassion and awareness, and you can offer it another option. So look at what happens when you walk. When your heel first meets the ground, the foot's designed to receive impact. As a matter of fact, this heel is so amazing. I mean, right now, if you just cross your leg and feel that fleshy aspect, that fat pad of the heel, imagine this. When your heel contacts the ground, this bone called the calcaneus can accept up to 1,000 times your body weight. Boom! I mean, it's incredible. And it transmits, it takes that weight through its impact, and then it transmits it to the front of the foot. The tibia and the fibula all begin to load as the arch drops and the leg turns inward, lengthening the arch, opening up the circulatory system in the sole of the foot, and that it spirals inward. This allows the knee to bend and allows that load, that 1,000-time body weight load, to be absorbed. And it tells the nervous system, hey, got this, it's safe to land. The fibula, the outside of your ankle bone, long bone goes all the way up to the knee, that works alongside the tibia, but not exactly the same. It shifts as the tibia rotates. So you need movement in both of these bones. That's how the lower leg kind of listens to the ground. All right, so you've hit, your foot begins to flatten as it moves towards mid-stance, the middle of your stance. It's like energy's being stored in that flattened foot. It becomes elastic, not forced. It's not held, but as you keep moving your weight forward and you transition towards toe off, push off, the system reverses. It's amazing. The arch begins to lift and the tibia externally rotates. The fibula follows it, stabilizing the ankle. And that outward spiral makes a firm, responsive lever that you can toe off. And that force transfers efficiently upward. Your hip external rotators are kicking in, your knee is protected, your movement feels light. If it doesn't feel light and you feel like you have a really heavy motion, I want to show you some things you can do to help that whole cycle, right? Heel to foot flat, inner cycle, mid stance, elastic storage, going to push off, outward spiral and lift, off you go. So that spiraling is the way that you adapt, not rigidly, but adaptively to the ground underneath you. And when motion is lost in the foot and ankle, the knee and the hip have to absorb the torque. They have to overcome the fact that things aren't moving down below. And they were never meant to manage that alone. It's meant to be all together. So if that heel strike outer foot off the second, third toe feels unfamiliar to you or uneven, it's not that anything's gone wrong. It means that your nervous system has been prioritizing predictability, stability. You've been in little coffins. You sit long times, forgot how to move. And that's just intelligent on the nervous system. But the cool thing is it's adjustable. You can change it. And you don't retrain how your foot moves by forcing it. You have to restore safe, non-threatening motions that don't hurt, especially without load on them if they do hurt. So this brings us to a simple practice we're going to do right now. You can do this sitting if it's painful at all, but if you can, I'd like you to stand with me, okay? And we're going to do this together in standing. That's the best way to do it. Okay, so let's see if I can make this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I put this little black pad so you can see, and I have something for my hand to hold. So feet about hip width apart, and the average hip width is about the size of your fist between your ankles. So find your feet hip width apart, second toes parallel, pointing forward, and I'm going to focus on the ball of the big toe, the ball of the little toe, and the heel. So first I'm going to press all those three spots down and lift the arch. So if you look from the side, this is a pronation, flat foot. This is a supination, high arch. I'm going to be right in the middle and focus on lifting this arch, the transverse arch, and the side arch. So heel, ball of the little toe, ball of the big toe, press those three spots down like a tripod, and then lift your other toes. Make them soft, but keep pressing down those three spots. If you can't do this at all, it's time to just bring a soft practice to this. Sitting at your computer, brushing your teeth, little tiny habits to find that tripod foot. When you do it, you actually contract muscles that moves your circulation. It is so effective. All right, that's stage one, the tripod foot. Stage two, I'm going to ask you to keep weight at the base of each toe, but toes soft so you could lift them, and slowly rock forward and come up on your heels. Don't let the heels roll out or in. Keep them in the middle and put weight on the base of each toe. Go as high as you can, holding on for balance if you need it, and then softly lower. Keep the weight even on the toes, and you go up slowly. Do this with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, see if you can wiggle your toes so you're not clenching, but you're keeping weight even across the whole bridge of the toes there. And then slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And notice how that feels throughout the ankles and the calves. Okay, try that again. So you don't need to do a lot. You need to go very slowly. 3, 4, 5. And my heels stay directly behind me. The foot doesn't roll out or in. And then slow with soft toes, come down, pressing through the ball of the foot. Excellent. Okay, maybe 2 more times, 2 to 5 times is sufficient. Then you're going to stay up tall and you're going to lift onto your heels, okay, without bending forward. So you drop and you lift. And if you find it difficult to lift the front of your foot with your toes soft, then it's time to start working on those calves. And that's a really important thing. If you notice you have really a lot of calluses at the ball of the foot, if you're really getting calluses in through this area, It's probably time to work on those heels and lengthen the Achilles tendon. Okay, so again, rocking back and lifting the front of the foot. Try to avoid doing this. Keep yourself upright and lift. And just notice, and then gently rock back and forth. Front of the foot, down, weight even, come up, lift your heels behind you straight, slowly lower, and then lifting the front of the foot. And then go walk. Go take a walk and notice, how does it feel inside those feet of yours now that you've given them attention and space? It usually is quite remarkable what ends up happening. You'll find that you do much less gripping, that you're resting, that you're more aware of the tripod of the foot, less holding, right? So this helps your foot understand heel strike, rolling on the front of the foot, mimicking the arch lengthening and the arch rising. So this is, it's not intended to correct or fix you, but it's definitely in the space of increasing your neurological awareness of the whole foot. And the other thing I recommend to do several times a day is kick your shoes off, get your foot up in your hand, or get a ball on the ground and listen to what's going on in the soles of those feet. Because as the fascia opens up and the soft tissue can begin to move, you start to get pumping action back in your circulation. Your nervous system starts to recognize different motions of the bones. The knee gets less burdened. And your lower body begins to cooperate with movement instead of compensate. So just start there, right? Slowly, without force. Try to really soften your body before you strive to get somewhere. Most of all, be kind to yourself. A lot of this is just a journey into somatic awareness, and you got this. So take your time with it, drop a comment in, subscribe so I can keep this stuff coming, and thank you for being here. Be well.